Hi guys, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button. Please do subscribe. Today is Saturday, it's Saturday morning, another hot day. What is the temperature in my flat? It's coming down a little bit. It's 24 degrees inside this flat, but it's still very warm for the month of September. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. If you were born in September, your birthstone is sapphire. They're usually blue, but did you know they can also be purple, green, orange, or yellow?
Right guys, so the birthstone of September is sapphire. Alexa, what's the time please?
The time is 8:45 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
Today is Saturday the 16th of September.
Alexa, what's the weather like?
Right now in Rochester, it's 16 degrees Celsius with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast has cloudy skies, with a high of 25 degrees and a low of 16 degrees.
I think the temperature will start to drop as it obviously is going to head towards October, isn't it? Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
What's a horse's favourite sport? Stable tennis.
Alexa, whose birthday is it today?
Today's famous birthdays include American singer and actor Nick Jonas, Serbian Association football player Alexander Mitrovic, American actress Alexis Bledel, American actor, screenwriter, and former boxer Mickey Rourke, and American actress Amy Poehler.
Some of them I've never ever heard of, but let's say happy birthday, shall we? So whose ever birthday it is today, happy birthday. Alexa, can you sing happy birthday?
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
So guys, the start of the weekend, Friday night, I was at home relaxing with my chihuahua, enjoying a nice cup of hot chocolate and watching videos on YouTube. I like to keep safe, I like to keep cosy, and yes, I was cosy. Max is my little companion, and as you get older, when things seem grey and sometimes boring and uneventful as you get older, he brings me great joy. Last night I took him out for a walk and I enjoyed a nice walk. I like to watch the sun go down. Lovely sunsets we're getting here in Medway, beautiful. I've put some of them on TikTok, I photographed them and put some of the pictures on Facebook. Glorious sunsets we're having, and the warm weather and the dry weather. So I think, you know, maybe we should be grateful for the warm weather, because when it gets colder, it was over a year ago, so you forget how cold it was. So are we going to have a freezing cold winter, or is it going to be mild? I don't know. So I've got up this morning, I fed my lovely dog, I fed my cats, and Nikki is gaining weight. She's sitting on the radiator for some reason. She's decided to cozy up and sit on top of the radiator. Well, she won't be doing that obviously when it's turned on, but at the moment the radiators are obviously turned off. So she started sitting on top of the radiator for some reason, and she falls off. So I've got two senior cats, but they act like they're kittens, so they jump and then they misjudge where they're jumping, and then they fall off, and it, because they're big large cats, it makes a great big bang. so that you know, I think cats as they get older are like adults in their minds. Like you still want to be young, but you're not, and you can't do things when you're young. So the big cat jumps and then she falls off. Right, so I'm gonna have a crossword puzzle game. Alexa, puzzler.
Good morning. Welcome back to Puzzler. Would you like to play your daily crossword or hear the high scores?
Daily crossword.
Let's get into your quick crossword of the day.
Encrypted. It has 5 letters.
Alexa, coded.
On to the next clue.
Large group of people. First letter, C. It has
Alexa,
5 letters.
crowd. Alexa, CROWD, crowd.
Fabulous puzzling.
Many a time. First letter, O. There are 5 letters.
Alexa, skip.
Okay, we'll skip this clue.
Went by car. First letter, D. It
Alexa,
has 5.
drove.
Fantastic. You've completed half of the crossword.
Same as before. D. Blank blank blank. O. 5 letters.
Alexa, clue.
Here's a clue.
D. Blank blank. T. O.
Alexa, ditto.
Here's the next clue.
Move in time to music. D. Blank blank blank. E. There's 5 letters.
Alexa, dance.
Great. Here's the final clue.
Many a time. O. Blank. T. Blank. N. 5 letter word.
Alexa, clue.
Here's a clue.
O. Blank.
Alexa,
T. E.
often.
Check out the highest rated voice games. Just say Open Yak Yak Games.
So it was often. Many a time, often. So I finished that crossword. These voice recognition things are easy to go wrong, aren't they? When a machine or obviously computer has to recognise your voice or mishears what you're saying. So I finished my crossword, but Alexa's exited the game. But I did finish the crossword. So like I said, it's a lovely sunny day. It's nice and warm. We'll take the dog out for a walk a bit later. I've got up okay. I did feel a bit grotty to start with. But, you know, I'm just carrying on with every day as I usually do, whatever happens. Like, that's all we can do, isn't it? Get up and then just carry on. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Time after time, he served as a prisoner at HMP. Did you serve as a prisoner, Chris? Hello.
I'm afraid I did, yes.
I didn't realise that's what it was called, serving as a prisoner, but there you go. Boris Becker would be good at that, serving as a prisoner. Listen, Wandsworth Prison was understaffed the day of that Daniel Khalif escape, right? And no prison officers were in the kitchen. You know, that whole story, you know, with like half the staff off. What is that? What does that tell us?
That's a normal day. I wouldn't read any sort of grand conspiracy into that. All prisons are understaffed most days, and one of the key reasons is mental health. The prison officers have to deal with just horrendous trauma on a daily basis. I had to be there. I didn't have any choice, but the poor staff are sort of going in and out on minimum wage, and that's their career. And they see some absolutely horrendous things, and it affects them as it affects any human being. And mental health amongst prison officers is worryingly high, and that's why a lot of them call in sick.
So 80 prison officers didn't turn up for their shift. It says they didn't turn up for their shift. Well, why were they, if they have got such severe difficulties, why were they rostered in the first place?
Absolutely. I know these are all questions for the supposedly independent inquiry. I mean, the military justice said, some of them it was planned leave and some of them it was, training or something like that. But 80 is just astonishing. That's nearly half. I mean, and the thing is, having lived in there, none of this is a surprise to me. And I talk about this in my book time after time. It's just completely hidden chaos inside these prisons. It's just farce on a day-to-day basis, and lack of staff is one of the main reasons that we have all the problems. Just to give you an example, if half of prisoners are functionally illiterate, and the taxpayer is paying for English teachers to come into prisons to teach them how to read and write. And I don't think anybody is going to argue with that, but that is a very sensible thing to do, because if people leave prison more educated and with training qualifications, they're less likely to commit crime, no more victims, okay? So everyone agrees with that. The problem is there aren't enough officers to unlock the prisons to take them to the lessons. So I would regularly see in the education department teachers in completely empty classrooms, and all the prisoners who wanted to be in those lessons stuck in their cells over on a prison wing because there weren't the officers to unlock them to bring them over. Complete waste of time and money.
And the mental health amongst... Listen, I've got people who I know who work, some on a very regular basis in there and around in Wandsworth. The stories that I hear from inside Wandsworth, because that's where I used to live around there, is absolutely... It's beyond belief, and the medical care when things go wrong, beyond belief. There was one time, and I don't even know whether this is documented or not, but I know it to be true. Somebody tried to kill themselves, and very, very nearly succeeded in that. And a helicopter landed, an ambulance, and couldn't find their way in. It's stuff like stuff like that.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, the documented death that struck me most, and this is in my book, a bit of a stretch about my time in Wandsworth, was Osvaldas Pigueras, and people could look him up. And he was 18 years old when he was arrested for stealing sweets, so he wasn't even convicted of this pathetic crime. And he had severe mental health problems, but wasn't screened when he went in. He attempted to kill himself 5 times. He was found in the news on 5 separate occasions. Clearly very, very damaged, young, vulnerable boy. And rather than treat him for his mental health problems, they punished him. And they sent him to the punishment block where he killed himself. And he pressed the alarm, the emergency alarm, and the officer didn't come for over 30 minutes, by which time he killed himself. And that's just one of many. Wandsworth had the highest suicide rate in the UK while I was there. So these are the real problems that, in a way, I'm glad that the escape is putting into the spotlight.
But people don't care. I got to be honest, people don't care. They're prisoners. You were a prisoner. You've sacrificed your right to any sort of existence, and we're also really busy with our cost of living crisis, and our kids need this, and that is the fact of the matter.
I get it, and I hear that all the time. So why I wrote my book time after time, because it's specifically to answer that question. It's like, okay, you don't care about the plight of prisoners. I think that's wrong, but you don't. Do you care about crime?
Yeah, I do. I don't want you guys coming out angry, disturbed, annoyed.
So 80% of all crimes are reoffences. They're committed by people who've committed a crime before. So if you can solve the problem with prisons, if you can solve the problem of reoffending, you will solve our spiralling crime levels. Yes. And a lot of violent crimes committed by people who have escalated. I track this in the book. They start at petty low-level offending, and then they end up doing something very, very serious, maybe even killing someone 5 years later. Why? Because they go in and out of the system, and every time they do, the system makes them worse.
How come a bloke as bright as you ended up in there?
Well, that's what I like to say, is that it can happen to anyone, and I did something monumentally stupid. I committed tax fraud to fund a film. In prison, I saw people who were, Daily Mail readers, pillars of their community, never put a foot wrong, and one day they accelerated a bit too fast, another car went off the road, and an unfortunate victim died, and they got done for death by careless driving, or death by dangerous driving. Yeah. And these were people who go, I'm not the kind of person who goes to prison. A lot of people do end up in the prison system, because there's such a taboo about it, most people don't talk about it. Yeah. But it's interesting, you said, a lot of people say to me, parties or down the pub, they say, I don't say this to anyone, but, you know, my dad went inside, but I don't tell anyone. I can tell you, because you're a prisoner too.
Yeah.
Or my brother did. He stole from his employer 6 years ago and got 2 years, and no one talks about it. And it's like, well, and I think the more people talk about it, obviously they are human beings. There's human beings who made a huge mistake and deserve a little bit of humanity rather than just brutal punishment.
How interesting. And so you've got this book, Time After Time. What's the other one that you flashed up on screen in a blatant...
Well, no, that was Time After Time.
That was Time After Time.
My first one was a bit of a stretch. So a bit of a stretch about all my time in Wandsworth.
Right.
And it's funny enough, I actually talk about some of the issues that we're saying were contributing to the Daniel Khalif escape. And Time After Time is about why a lot of my friends who I made inside have all gone back. I thought it would be a one-time only experience. I got out and thought, wow, never again. But a lot of my mates, my cellmates, my friends from the wings got out, have gone back. One guy's gone back 4 times since 2018 when we both got out. So it's looking at that. It's why people keep going back to prison.
Don't forget to take the pay the tax on the road.
Honestly, I don't go 1 mile over the speed limit now. Honestly, I file everything on time. I'm so good.
Well, throw away the key next time, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Once is a problem, twice is a bit of a pattern.
Take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. What an interesting man. That's Chris Atkins. He's author of that book he keeps flashing, Time After Time, and others. 9 o'clock here on LBC. Front page of The Guardian. Mass campaign needed to curb unhealthy living. Do we need a mass campaign to tell us what we need to do? You tell me, to get healthier, how much have you thought about trying to change things? And have you succeeded? Give us a buzz. We'll have the news next. This is LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom, ministers are under pressure to provide details of how a ban on American XL bully dogs will be implemented by the end of the year. Some animal charities say the government should instead focus on irresponsible owners and breeders. Shadow Policing Minister Labour's Alex Norris has told Andrew there are issues to iron out.
It's going to take some time on breed identification. The Dangerous Dogs Act's not perfect legislation, but it's shown that it can be done. The Prime Minister's committed to do it by the end of the year. We'll be working with them to do that and holding them to that.
A 14-year-old boy has died in hospital after being stabbed in Manchester. A boy of the same age has been arrested on suspicion of murder following last night's attack in Harper Hay. There's growing anger in Libya, where 11,000 people have died in flooding in Derna and another 10,000 are still missing. Local people are questioning why the city's flood defences failed after severe storms and heavy rainfall almost a week ago. Aid agencies are concerned about the growing risk of waterborne diseases, as well as shortages of food and medicine. Kim Jong-un has been shown nuclear-capable bombers on his visit to the eastern port of Vladivostok in Russia. The Kremlin says no agreements on military cooperation were signed after the North Korean leader met with Vladimir Putin earlier this week. Dr. Edward Howell is an expert in North Korean political relations. He's told LBC there is a strong performance element to the visit.
An editorial in North Korean newspapers said that actually Kim Jong-un was toiling away, working hard, labouring hard on a long journey in Russia. That is a way of stoking patriotism or nationalism. Certainly there is an important domestic element on both sides here. Both countries and their leaders want their people to see their states as nuclear-armed powers.
Sir Keir Starmer is expected to tell political leaders in Canada how he will tackle illegal immigration if he becomes the next Prime Minister. The Labour leader is at the Global Progress Action Summit in Montreal. LBC weather, cloudy with rain slowly easing across the north. Elsewhere, sunny spells with scattered showers. Feeling warm and more humid in the south. A high of 26 Celsius. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Holly Harris.
Pockets. I wonder what's in your pocket right now. Over fishing? If. Picture of a family? No. How about a lottery ticket with 6 magic numbers? No? Don't worry, there's still time. This Saturday, it could be you. Lotto from the National Lottery. Play now. Rules, procedures, apply. 18 minutes.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Andrew Castle.
I was with a friend of mine earlier on this week. Good morning to